I'm from the former GDR, the eastern part of Germany.
Okay.
So before the change, we did not have the possibility to buy a car from the western part.
Yep.
We used to play in the street on like sandy hills, what people used for building houses. And on like one day, I found a small little toy car, and it was a Porsche, a Matchbox. I took it and brought it home to my mother, and I told her, if I'm an adult, if I'm big, I will buy this car. I want this car. And she told me, no, you will never can buy this car. We cannot have this car. This is a car from the western part of Germany, so we are not able to buy this, never ever. And I didn't understand at this time as a child.
Hey, so welcome back to another episode of In the Driver's Seat with ABS. You join us in our museum on 222 Bellevue Avenue in Newport, Rhode Island. And you join us in our new exhibition. I'm not looking over at the thing on the wall, JDM and Beyond, Worldwide Influence of Japanese Automobiles. But this is a badass exhibition. And I know
Isn't it great?
Yeah, I know that we've been pretty excited about it for a while. And Ben, I know you've put a lot of time into it. And if you want to kind of go on and talk about what this is about.
Yeah. So it's been a long road. I mean, it started off with a flight to Japan. I'm just kidding. I wish. No, but
my sister's in Japan right now.
I want to go to Japan so bad. It's like that's my bucket list. Like if I had one place to go right now, Japan.
Oh, it'd be amazing.
I might never come back.
Imagine Barry in Japan.
I would love
Imagine
it.
Barry driving his truck through Tokyo.
That'd be perfect.
We're good. We're good.
There'd be no problem.
Oh yeah. No worries. This show's really cool, and it's
It show's like super cool.
I'm just like I could go anywhere. I could talk about this for hours, So I'm trying to keep it succinct, and I'm not doing a good job so far. But this is a show that guests have been asking us to do for probably 5 years now. Mm-hmm. We had a few Japanese cars for the first time in our Young Timers exhibit, which kind of got the ball rolling.
Supra, RX-7.
Yep. Datsun's been up here. GTR's been up here. But it's so hard with shows like this, to really pay honest homage to the culture. And, we've got a lot of great cars in our collection, but some of this stuff is so rare, all these top secret cars, this 22B prototype behind us, you have to find the exact cars. And it took us this long to really build the connections and understand what's out there, while still trying to do it on some sort of a budget. Like all these cars are from basically New England, and the farthest one, the NSX, was in Florida, and we happened to actually pick it up at Amelia. So it was free transport.
I was there for
back.
that.
Yeah. And that worked out really well. But, we kept the cost down. We got a great show, and we've got some really heavy hitters. And then to have Alain Prost's F1 car here with the body off is like icing on the cake. Like we're super thrilled about that.
And you and I kind of have a bond with that car because
we have a lot of bonds.
Besides, yes, a high five. Oh, okay. I don't want to hold your hand.
I'll just sit over here quietly. It's fine.
Listen, this is how I feel when you two are off like gallivanting.
Like
and
tonight, we'll tell that story.
Video
tonight.
editing, but besides Stevie, you and I are the only ones in the company that can actually fit in in Alain Prost's car.
Well, Steve's actually still too small. I'm borderline too small. But cars like the AutoZam is crazy because the seat, I get in it, the seat's all the way back, and it's like perfect. You don't have to move it.
The proportions are
the proportions
dialed
are
in.
great. Yeah.
Barry's favorite thing when he goes to storage and he gets in a car, and then Ben Chester and I are the ones that drove it before, and the seat is all the way.
Like every time I go to move cars, it's like I get in. Ben Chester was moving this car because I can't get in it.
Well, that's the thing. It's like that's why I love manual seats because it's just like you pull the lever in your back. But we'll be in storage and in a tight spot, and Sean will go to open the door, and I'm sitting there just like putting the seat back. For like 10 minutes. Sean's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm trying to make your life easier in about 2 weeks. So.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chief. But no, awesome show. I think it came out really well. We've already had a huge opening weekend with almost 400 visitors. it's getting a whole new audience in here.
Right.
You know, these are people who are coming in the museum who really never would have had interest in the museum. And it's just good to open a whole new set of eyes.
Talk a little bit about like the culture of it all. Like, you know, I feel like the three of us are pretty ingrained in like European car culture because obviously we love BMWs, Porsche, all that. But like, what's so great about the Japanese car culture and like me, you know, the story of the Skyline and why are people so attracted to them?
I'm going to just lead by saying I'm not the most knowledgeable person on this subject. So I'm watching this from an outside view. There are lots of people who, you know, their whole, their entire automobile interests revolve around Japanese cars. But just to back up, if you look at everything that the Japanese do and all the interests that the Japanese have, from like Pokemon to other realms of their life, there's passion injected into all of that. Look at the trains, you know, look at all the toys that they have, look at their amusement parks, you know, their transportation, everything. And then you get to cars and it's the same way. They look to inject, you know, creativity and passion into every aspect of their life. And then you look at their cars and it makes sense coming from that society. But
you also get a lot of value for these cars. You know, my first antique car was a 1970 Datsun 240Z, 71, and you know, the reason that I was so attracted to it was I love the shape of the car. It was very similar to a Daytona Ferrari, and
that, but it's true.
Huh?
I said I never thought of that, but it's true.
You know, long hood, short rear. The car in the period was, I think it was faster than a 911, and for the price that you were getting it, and of course how it looked, you got a lot of value. And the thing about that car, I had at the time, this was 2012 when the prices were for G-body 911s, and these were much less expensive than what they are now. I had them both at the same time, and this would, no matter what, fire right up, be super reliable, have a fun drive. The 911 could be finicky. You know, obviously I was getting it serviced frequently, but this was always super reliable, would always start, everything worked on it, and it was so much fun to drive. And like I said, for a car that was 10 years older than the 911 that I had, you know, the experience was phenomenal. And I think you have that with these cars. You know, you have the reliability, you get performance at a I don't want to say like entry level, because a lot of these cars are, but you for what you compare it to performance wise, it's pretty hard to beat. And they're so fun to drive.
And especially the prices new, you know, are much different than the prices now. And then, you know, you compare them with, you know, what they were going up with at the time. It's remarkable. I mean, the GTR is from 1989. Probably the most advanced car in the world at that point.
Right.
But, I mean, and then people say, well, what about the, you know,
959,
930 or the 959 or the F40? It's like that was a $45,000 or $50,000 car. when you know, a 959 was like what, $500,000,
couldn't even
buy that.
No, and it's like this had comparable performance, you know, any day of the year. So, but it's that type of ingenuity, you know, in design, in the reliability of the engineering, in the comfort, in the athleticism that you see in almost all these cars, which is really special. And they're able to be molded into different environments, as you see with the cars like the S15 and the R34, which is really cool.
No, I think it's a new and it's an exciting thing that we can bring to the table and people can come and enjoy. And we hope, you know, as three younger guys, that some younger people come in and really enjoy this. I know that we were in here yesterday and there was like, you know, a group of teenagers who were totally like geeking out on stuff in here. And it's cool to see younger people being enthusiastic about cars like we are, you know. And you guys are going on an adventure tonight.
Oh, yeah.
What's this adventure about?
Oh yeah, this is
a Barry's
We got a
Transport
Barry's
story.
Transport Executive Division move tonight. We got
I
a
brought
we got
in
a big
I
one.
brought in the top talent for today's move.
Oh yeah, we got Barry, we got Terry. Like, look, we're fucking dialed in. Oh, excuse my cousin. Like, sorry for cussing. But we are absolutely locked in tonight.
Yeah, so-
Sean, you tell. Here we go. I'm excited for this one.
Well, yeah, I mean, part
This
of
is a day in the life.
Yeah, part of having 500 plus cars, you get asked for people or companies asked to borrow cars for exhibitions or to show at an event, whatever it may be. So in this case, our 1930s, what is it, a 36? Yeah, it's a 36 Type 57 Bugatti is going to go to RM Sotheby's, their headquarters in New York City, for about a month for an exhibit. But what that entails is you and me bringing the car down. We have to load it after 8 p.m. We have to put it up a freight elevator and push it in.
That's cool.
The building, like around. So it'll be an adventure, and I think we'll capture some of it on film for
we're gonna
everyone
do a little.
to see. But
we're gonna do a little vlog action.
Yeah.
We're pretty excited, and I heard this third hand, and Sean was like, "Ben Mercer volunteered you to go to New York with me." I'm like, "Oh, great!" Like loading in the car. He's like, "Yeah." So they said it has to be after 8, but later the better. And obviously, like if you think about the logistics of it, it's like you can't drive a truck and a trailer into New York City
Block a
anytime
road.
before
Yeah,
that.
right now.
So it's like, it's all right. So we'll get back like 2 a.m. But of course, Sean sends me a video last night of a big like core bus.
Greyhound bus.
Yeah, Greyhound bus going through like a side street in New York City, absolutely thrashing in the corn.
And just keeps
parked
going.
on the corner, and I'm like, dude, this is us tomorrow. Like, we're all set. So we'll see how it goes.
Oh man.
But Sean drives the truck. Like, I don't have my BTC CDL, so I just sit in the passenger seat like a passenger princess. So I will be just watching March Madness straight dialed in for like 3 hours.
Nice.
unreal. But
That'll
it'll
be
be
fun.
fun. It's one of those adventures that we do.
Yeah.
And we've been going on a lot of adventures recently.
You
you've
too.
been.
I've been
I
straight
mean,
chilling, holding down the fort.
You've been holding down
Yeah, I
the fort.
know.
Yeah, the
Holding-
ice event was fun. We had a good time, and you did a great job capturing that, and that was
Yeah, great
that was
job.
pretty
It's all
unreal
set.
event.
Good
And then
job,
you were
good job.
back, and then Moda, and then
Yeah.
Dude,
Amelia.
Antonio went from
Switzerland.
he went to Switzerland for like call it a week, comes back following weekend. He flew to Amelia, from Amelia flew to Moda for like what, a day? Were you
Like
there for a
6
day?
hours.
6
I
hours.
was there for like 6
Yeah,
hours.
so I was like what, an hour flight maybe?
Yeah.
It's like from going from like here to Baltimore,
Baltimore.
and then from Moda back to Amelia for the event on Sunday.
Yeah.
Was that tiring?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, I did it once. I went to Pebble once with the big camera, and it was like, this is nuts. It's like running around with that thing with a suit jacket on. It's
Yeah.
like you got to build your endurance for that, and you got to get your triceps up. Like it's a whole thing. Strong man like bull.
Yeah, but
I can't see it through.
Yeah, the
G
videos
jacket.
came out really well, though.
Oh, thank
That
you.
video was
Thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah, they were
That was
really good.
great.
No, that I
They're all
appreciate
great.
that.
Those two in particular
Yeah,
are very
those
good.
two in particular were like, I felt like I was there. Because
Wow.
like most
Yeah.
of the stuff,
Hell
I
yeah.
tell Tony this, like full disclosure, I'm here for most of the videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm gonna go. I'll go and like throw a comment like it's all set,
Yeah.
and like a like,
It's all
and make
set.
sure we're subscribed and all that, like everyone else is, right? You're subscribed, right?
Yeah.
But this one, like I see it come up and I watched the whole thing. I was like, holy shit! Like that was us.
Yeah.
Doing
Yeah.
that. That was so
dude.
cool.
What's crazy too is what people don't realize is the amount of footage you actually have to get versus
Oh my
what goes
God.
in. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
How many like
ridiculous.
gigabytes of footage?
We
Well,
have
you were filming the-
140 terabytes of footage.
Yeah.
from
Yes.
from
in
that trip.
No,
Total.
total.
No, from like that trip.
From that trip,
That's a lot. Of
from that
footage.
trip, I want to say that was like
Imagine
that was like probably like a 400 or 500 like gigabyte like
400 or 500 gigabytes.
But
Yeah.
I mean, we were in Switzerland. He was filming nonstop, and then you see the video, and you're like, "Wow!"
wait.
I can't believe like it. Tells
Yeah.
the story perfectly, but it's like
Yeah.
the
I had
amount
to
you
cut a lot
film
out.
versus
Yeah.
the amount that goes into the story is crazy.
So I find it almost humorous. Not humorous, but I always bust Antonio's chops about like our Instagram because it's so popular. So you guys go over, you have 500 gigabytes of footage
Oh, I know.
on the big cameras. and then you see what?
This is the funniest story.
No, wait, yeah, tell the story. So you get all this footage,
Yeah.
but then you're driving down the road with
Yeah.
your cell phone, and what happens?
Yeah, so we're driving back. It's snowing. If you watch the ice,
straight blizzard.
if you watch the ice video that Antonio filmed
You
and
watch
put
it
out,
right here.
How much
Yeah,
did it
put
snow?
it
Like
here.
a foot, 2 feet?
So like 3 feet.
It's like 3 feet in like
sake.
6 hours.
Yeah.
And
It was a lot.
yeah, so we're driving back to the hotel, and our hotel was like, it was like literally like a ski hotel. It was like a resort. It wasn't
Yep.
like, it was like 5 minutes from St. Moritz, the town.
Like on the mountain, right?
Like on
Oh,
the
yeah.
mountain,
Like
side of the
mountain
mountain.
roads, We're yeah.
like
you
an
have to take a
additional
single
1,000 feet up.
You have to take like a single lane road. So we're driving up the single lane road. It's dumping snow, and there's like two cars ahead of us that come to a stop, and I'm driving, and I just go like this, and I go, "Oh, Antonio, there's a Jesco that's in the snow," and Antonio's like, "Wait a minute." He's like, "We need footage." So he jumps out.
Antonio straight locked in at this
Oh,
point.
yeah.
He like jumps right out and starts filming this Jesco trying to go up a single lane road in the snow.
Did it though, right?
No, I mean it was turning around, but
Yeah.
it was like no, it should not have been where it was. And Antonio gets it, like puts the video out immediately. It's like the first.
Yeah.
And I guess this is how Instagram works. Is like he was like the first to do it. So over like 3 days, it got 9 million views, which is like absurd.
And here we are with 500 gigabytes of footage, and Antonio's like, it's all set.
Like accidental 9 million.
Oh,
It was just right place,
Unreal.
right time.
No, I knew it was going to go viral.
It's
It's
so
like,
Antonio-
funny. And we were talking about it. I was like, do you want to like send it out in like a couple hours when people start to wake up in America? He's like, we have to send it now for the algorithm.
yeah, I was like,
dude, the algorithm lives absolutely rent free in Antonio's head all the time.
Oh, yeah.
He's locked into the algorithm.
no, that
Bad
was
day to be an algorithm.
Yeah.
that was funny. That was and Waller. It was funny because like we'd go down to breakfast, and every morning I'd be like, "Hey Barry, the video's at
7 million views.
videos at 1 million views."
Oh my god.
And then the best part is like the whole time, every time I would give an update on how many more views it got, Nick Waller would be like, "Seriously?
How is
How is that possible?"
It's not, but it happened.
Yeah,
No,
that was funny.
That was an incredible trip.
Yeah.
That place is wild.
Yeah,
St.
well-
Moritz is insane.
And the drive is to like get there and leave is ridiculous too.
Well, it's just like so crazy that we were driving a 1922 the funniest part is the whole time Sean and I keep calling it, because the car is from 1922. We keep calling it a 1922 Bentley, but then we also kept saying that the car
104
was
years old.
104 years old. And then
I don't know who told me that, and I just like it just stuck with me, and I was like, I don't do math, so
I get into the edit, and I'm like, wait a
You're
minute.
close.
I'm like 104 years old, but the car is from 1922. And then I text Sean, and I was like, hey, Sean,
I can't remember who told me.
1922 is not 104 years old. It was funny.
Yeah, that's
That
fine.
is funny.
It was
close,
funny.
close enough.
You had a perfect flawless trip, except your math.
Except my
was
math
just
was a
2
little
years
incorrect.
off.
Oh, there's always got to be at least one like
If
slight
that's your
issue.
F
Well, it
up,
was first of
you're
all,
all set.
it was a test. I wanted to see who would comment that, and correct
That's
it.
actually good
Yeah.
for the algorithm.
See, it's for the
That's
algorithm.
I
did
just
it for the
corrected
He's
it.
algorithm.
dialed in.
I just corrected
I know
it.
you did.
He's dialed in. What else is going on?
But I don't know. I mean, we
Well,
got Cars and Coffee starting up again.
Dude, this
pretty soon.
is the same situation as last year. So last year we had a exhibition load in early mid-March. Then we went to California for a week.
Which was a year ago this week.
This week we were in California.
Yeah.
Then it was like maybe a week. Then we had Goodwood. I was in Goodwood for 10
Yeah.
days.
And then the best event of the year,
Yeah, then we had auction movement. So we
Yeah.
moved out car storage. Then we had veteran tour.
Which is the best.
Meanwhile, we've got Cars and Coffee. Meanwhile, we've got other events. I left my desk in early March.
Not to return.
Not to return until mid-May. And the stuff in the forefront of my desk was from late February. And I had the most...
it's still there.
It's still there. I don't know. It's crazy. It's been a year. That was a crazy circumstance.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. We had exhibition load in. Now we got something. Then we've got Goodwood. And then we're in it. Like,
Yeah,
this is it.
that's
We're
it.
in the
Start.
I love it.
No, it's gonna be good. And then we had a pretty exciting week last week. We had a couple come from from Germany, and they've been driving cross country in two cars that we like very much. And I'll leave the Porsche talk for that interview. and we'll segue into that right now. Hey, so welcome to this extra segment of In the Driver's Seat with ABS. You join us here at our car storage facility in Middletown, Rhode Island, and we're joined by some very special guests, Carrera Treffel, I hope I'm saying that properly, Christian and Orchard. They have been driving across the country with two Porsches that I don't think most people would want to drive across the country, a 991 Speedster and a 997.2 GT3 RS, which if you listen to this podcast or watch this podcast, it is one of my favorite cars to drive. Ben and Sean couldn't join me today, but they also love driving that car. And thank you so much for joining me on the show today. Really appreciate it, guys.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So what made you decide to drive these two cars across the country?
Well, it's a two Porsche. You have to drive a Porsche.
You have to drive a Porsche. Okay, I like that.
The story behind, I think it's a part of Audrain. You can tell it.
A friend of ours told us we have to go once in a life. We have to go to the United States and take part of a Porsche parade, of a PCA parade.
Okay.
It's so great, more enthusiasts than in Germany, and yeah, we have to see this, and we can take rental cars over there and go with the Porsche to the parade. And that's what told me Christian at home. And I said, yeah, we can do that, but not with rental cars. We take our own cars.
That's awesome.
And yeah, so we made it.
That's awesome. So talk the audience through the process, because your cars are registered in Germany. Was it hard to bring them over to the United States? How does that work with insurance and registration? And I'm sure there could be some issues along the way. How does that work?
The idea was very easy to born. You heard it about, but to realize this was a great part of paperwork and a lot of problems on the way. The first thing you need, the shipping of the cars. That's very easy. The cars go in a 40 feet container. Mm-hmm. Two cars in one container. You can book a ship. We made this over carrier company. So the way from Germany to Miami to the port was very easy. But the biggest thing for us was to get an insurance, because the insurance companies in Germany or in Europe told us, when you leave Europe, you have no more insurance.
Oh, okay.
And when you go outside Europe, you cannot have an insurance of us because of
jurisdiction.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we tried to get an American insurance. They ask us, are you American people? Are you residential people? Have your cars are American cars? The US licensed? We always said no. And the answer of the insurance companies was no, you can't get an insurance.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's good if you know a friend who know a friend.
Okay.
So at the end we got insurance by Haggerty.
Okay. Yeah. Great.
We got a collector's insurance.
Yep.
And this was a way where we
got to drive
from
here.
One event to the next event, like a collector, like your big boss, like Donald. Everybody with collections drive from event to event.
That's awesome. So you ship the cars to the port in Miami. So how long did it take for the cars to get from Germany to Miami?
2 weeks.
2 weeks? Oh, that's not too bad.
It's like a train. The container ships drive 24 hours, 7 days, and they don't stop between the big when they cross the Atlantic.
Yeah. Okay. So when did the journey start? You've been doing it since 23, right? And you started in last year?
This time, yes, we started in June last year.
June of last year.
But our first trip was in 2020 with we call them the twins. We have the white GT2S.
Okay.
You see it outside, and we have the same car in blue at home.
Yeah,
And in 2020 we shipped both cars. Was the first idea we bring two GT3 RS to the United States.
Yeah.
and they arrived here mid of February 2020.
So you were here in the States right when the pandemic started.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
So it was probably, I mean, the pandemic obviously wasn't good, but nobody was on the road. So it was probably fun to have those two cars when nobody was on the roads. Yes or no?
But we stayed here for 3 weeks, and 1 week after Amelia Island, after Works Ruin in 2020, COVID starts really, and we had to go out.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah, it makes sense.
We take the last flight from Atlanta to Europe.
Wow.
And had to wait 10 months.
Wow. So the cars stayed here in the States for 10 months?
Yes.
Where did you keep them?
We kept them at a car storage in Atlanta.
Wow.
Yeah, and actually we thought maybe 4 weeks something,
Yeah,
and then one more month.
Wow.
So it took us 10 months to come back, and we need to get an extension of the EPA permission.
Wow.
The cars were allowed only to stay here for 1 year.
Okay.
So we tried it actually 5 times, and we got 5 times no.
Wow.
And the 6th time we probably got another person at the EPA, and she said, yes, okay, give you 10 more months.
That's incredible. Wow, I wouldn't have even have thought of that. I mean, for me, it's like I love my stuff that I have so much. So if I was in another country, like if my cars were in Europe, I would, and I weren't with my cars, I'd be really upset.
It was not easy in this time because you didn't know how long COVID takes.
Yeah.
You
None of us
always
did,
said 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months.
Wow.
And
Yeah, it
people
would make
at
me
home,
nervous.
they told us, oh, the cars are probably not there anymore. You never know what they do with it. They probably sell it, or they drive it, or
Yeah, I mean, genuine thing to be worried about. I doubt it. I mean, I feel like in most of those places the cars are pretty secure, but I would definitely be nervous.
Yeah.
So on this next trip that you did, so what made you decide to bring the Speedster instead of the blue car?
Our goal, or the first idea was, like Audrain told, to be part of a Porsche parade, of the PCA Porsche parade.
Is that the one that happened in the desert? Did they do one in the desert?
Yes. In 2020, they planned it for Palm Springs.
Okay.
But because of the COVID restrictions, they had to cancel this. And we stayed, the first time we stayed here until November 21. Cars go home, and we said, okay, it was a great year for driving here. Once in a time experience. It's done without the Porsche parade. And in 2020, we heard about the Porsche parade. In 23, they will do it again in Palm Springs. And I saw her eyes, and I know, okay, it's time to go for a second time to the US.
That's awesome.
The Speedster.
Yeah, and we thought about what kind of cars we can bring. We shipped to the US. We said, okay, we change the cars because the white and the blue one had a history here. Now we change it, and we thought, okay, Speedster's best car for here. I can drive without the rooftop. It's great here.
Yeah.
And the second car we thought about an air-cooled car. It's a car which it's a recommission project at Porsche Classic, but it was not finished in time, so we changed it.
Is that the 930?
Yes.
Okay.
The 930. We changed it in May last year, right before the ship left Germany. We said, okay, no chance. So we said, okay, we bring the white RS back because of the pictures. So the white and the green are better for pictures as a blue one and the green Speedster.
That's cool. So you drove from Miami to Palm Springs? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
We drove it in 2 days.
2 days?
2 days. Because
so you guys are doing the speed limit then?
Oh no. The ship was delayed.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be there 5 days earlier.
Oh, so you had to move. You had an excuse.
And then we had to hurry up. Right.
We started on Friday afternoon in Fort Lauderdale.
Wow.
And the opening dinner in Palm Springs was Sunday at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we arrived 1 hour before, just in time.
Yeah,
Everything was good.
Wow.
We participated in the Porsche parade. Goal was
That's awesome. So you achieved the goal. So after the Porsche parade, did you stay in California, or where did you go after that? Because it's pretty close to car. You
Yeah.
guys went to Car Week, right, in Monterey?
Yeah,
Yes.
but this was Porsche parade was in June and Car Week was in August.
So you had plenty of time.
Yeah, Porsche parade was one event, and we heard about the Pikes Peak Hill Climb race,
Okay.
and unfortunately it was the next weekend after Porsche parade. So we left the Porsche parade on Thursday, 2 days earlier before the end, and drive from Palm Springs to Colorado Springs,
Wow.
1,000 miles.
That's awesome. And I feel like during the summer too, that would be the most incredible drive, going through the Rockies.
Yeah.
Yes, and okay, and we stayed at the Pikes Peak at the start line, in the pit lane with Porsche Colorado Springs. So it
Cool.
was a great time. It was a great weekend, and a Porsche was the fastest lap.
Yeah, David Donahue,
David
right?
Donahue,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, he's a great guy. So after Pikes Peak, what was the next step of the journey?
We drove around
Doesn't
the
remember.
Rocky Mountains
Yeah,
and drove back to California
went back to California.
because the race was in end of June and the Car Week was in August.
yeah,
So it was time to go back to California.
nice. And driving in California is amazing.
Yes.
The roads, going in the canyons in
Yeah.
Malibu, and Highway 1 and the Pacific Coast Highway, and all of the back roads that are even around Monterey during Car Week. I mean, I live in Rhode Island and I love the state, but whenever I go to California and go on any of the roads over there, I wish I lived in California. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yes, and
So
on the
good.
back roads normally you have no traffic, and we knew this from our first trip. We met Pete Stout
Okay.
and Alex from Sharkworks,
Yeah.
and they told us go to the north, drive north from San Francisco.
Yep.
The roads are very curvy, or very empty,
Yeah.
and you have a lot of fun. So
Oh.
I think California it's good to travel.
So I'm starting to understand why you decided to bring the Speedster and the GT3 RS, because on roads like that, those cars that's where they're so happy to be on those roads. They love to be there.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's for us. I would say it was the best cars that we can choose.
So when did your Porsche journey start? Were you young when you started to like Porsche, or was it something that you developed a taste for over time?
I had gotten my first Porsche in 2003.
2003.
Yeah, because I'm from the former GDR, the eastern part of Germany.
Okay.
So before the change, we did not have the possibility to buy a car from the western part.
Yep.
So yeah, I got my first Porsche. It was a 996 4S.
Nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful has the wide body from the turbo, and
Yeah.
the 4S is beautiful.
And at this time I lived in a mountain area, so for the winter, and I drove it all the winter, so it was perfect, the four-wheel drive. And
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And what about yourself?
I started one year later with a 997 Carrera.
Okay. Very nice.
So I think was a good start.
Yeah, no, that's a great start.
And I think in one time it's time to buy a Porsche, and if you think about this, you should do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always hard. Porsche is expensive. You have to earn money. You have to work hard sometimes.
Yep.
But I think it's the best way in your life.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I think it's, obviously through all of this, my colleagues and friends and I are really lucky to be around some of the best cars in the world. But I know that, at least me personally, I always want to go back to a Porsche, because I really enjoy the driving sensations and the way that it makes me feel. I always feel, you know, like I like to follow my gut instinct, but I always feel good when I'm driving a Porsche. It always makes me feel all warm and fuzzy on the inside.
Right. Yeah. That's it.
No, it's a great feeling.
Yeah.
And you guys have racked up a lot of miles in these cars, and I feel like there are many GT Porsches and cars that people buy where they don't put miles on them, but you two are not afraid to put miles on your cars.
No, these are Porsches, and I think Ferdi Porsche developed the cars for driving, not for collecting.
Yep.
And the first 356 was a car not for a garage; it was a car for the roads. And it's the best way to own a Porsche, to drive it.
Yeah. I mean, I
think
agree.
Your collections all are drivers' cars. So what else? You cannot collect the cars and say, "Oh, you're a good car. You're you bring tomorrow $1 more when I sell you because you have no mileage on it." You should drive it.
Yeah.
And you cannot buy our cars. It's our cars. So it's no matter, a scratch is a scratch. But the history of the car and the experience of the cars. We met people like you, like Donald. Yesterday we stayed at the PCA. Before we stayed at Amelia Island, you met a lot of people. It's only, you met these people only when you drive your cars. Cannot talk about with the phone, "Oh, I'm here, oh, it's nice to talk with you." You have to see the car as the people. You have to talk with them in person.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. Some of the best people and best friends that I've met have all been through car and motorcycle
We
stuff.
met Donald at the Chattanooga Motor Festival. Before Chattanooga, I don't know where Chattanooga was located. I heard about Chattanooga Motor Festival from a friend, and we thought, okay, go to Chattanooga. We come from California to Chattanooga. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
We met Donald. Now we are here in Rhode Island.
No, it's cool. You guys are just allowing the cars to bring you on your journey, and racking up so many miles. You said you're over 70,000 miles with your GT3 RS, and it's had no problems.
No.
It's a Porsche.
No problem so far.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a Porsche.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And what brings you to? You said so. You got your first Porsche in 2003, and you got yours, you said, in 2004, 2005. Why did you pick Porsche? Why not a Mercedes or BMW? Other German cars. Why Porsche?
For me, was the first touch of a Porsche was when I was in kindergarten still.
Okay.
Where we used to play, the kids, we used to play in the street on like sandy hills, what people used for building houses. And on one day I found a small little toy car, and it was a Porsche, a matchbox on one of those hills in the street. And I fell in love with that car. I think it was an F model at this time.
Okay.
So I took it and brought it home to my mother, and I told her, if I'm an adult, if I'm big, I will buy this car. I want this car. And she told me, no, you will never can buy this car. We cannot have this car. This is a car from the western part of Germany, so we are not able to buy this, never ever. And I didn't understand at this time as a child. And I told her, oh, sure, I will buy that. So I didn't understand, at this time. And I always keep this car in my mind. And after the change, so I had to save a little money, I had to work a little bit, and then, I could buy it finally.
That's awesome. That's a great story. And yourself?
I think for me was the little bit easier. I grew up in Bavaria, in the western part, and as a child, you have always a goal. You see Porsche. It was the time of the Porsche turbos in the 74s, and this was the fastest cars with the most power, with the best high speed. So you dream about these cars. After 3 years, you dream. Maybe I dreamed about to drive a red Ferrari, but I think was not a good idea. No, the Porsche was always a dream car for me. and sometimes in the 80s, because I grew up in the neighborhood of Walter Röhrl, of our German, of our famous German
And he
driver.
signed both of your cars.
He signed both of the
Yeah,
cars.
yeah.
He drove the white one on a racetrack in the Czech Republic.
Wow.
And so I changed my favorite car from Porsche to an Audi Quattro, because he drove all these cars. He drove it very fast. He drove it on a Pikes Peak. But thinking, beginning of the year 2000, well, I changed my mind. Said, okay, maybe it will be time for a Porsche.
Nice.
And it was a long way. And you think in Germany, you think about, can you buy a Porsche? What will your customers think about you when you drive a Porsche? I think it's a different way in Germany. In the US, you drive a Porsche and you are success. You have success in your business, so you can drive it. In Germany, you have to hidden it more.
Interesting.
Because your customers think sometimes you earn too much money.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was the first time. It was very hard to think to buy it.
You have to drive it with a disguise on.
Yes.
That's funny. So what is the next step of your journey? So you just went. You were at Amelia Island and you did the Works reunion at Amelia Island. So what's the next step after coming to Rhode Island?
We go back tomorrow. We go back to New York and Philadelphia. We met a friend of her from the university times, and after then next week we go to Mount Rushmore and end on Saturday in Porsche at Porsche Colorado Springs.
Wow! So you go all the way back.
Yes.
That's cool. That's very cool. And did you meet through Porsche, or was it how? I don't know. What's the story there?
We met us in a Porsche club.
Porsche club.
Yeah.
See, you can find a girlfriend or a wife through cars. This is what I'm always saying.
But look what Porsche she drive. Depends. Maybe sometimes it's very, very expensive. We met us first time on a 15th anniversary of our Porsche club in this time. And so the president told me, well, we have a new member, girl drove to Porsche, and she was at the party, and she ate only salad and small food. And I thought about, it's very cheap to meet this girl, to have a date with her. Salad, maybe €5 in this time. You have to save money. Okay.
That's funny.
But it was not so. So think about if you will have your first date with a girl. No, it's dangerous sometimes.
That's funny.
But you have definitely the best part of your life before.
That's funny. That's great. So before we wrap up here, if you have some advice that you could give to a young person who wants to buy their first Porsche, what would you say to them?
I think I would not start with a GT car.
Yeah,
probably.
You guys have the two best ones.
Yeah, better drive a normal one, like now 911, or maybe Boxster to start with. Yeah, because the GT2 cars, are a little bit harder to drive. Yeah, and you should have an experience before with Porsche, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Don't say it. I buy it tomorrow. Do it today.
Yeah.
I think it's many friends say, I will buy it tomorrow. I will buy it next year. But I think the time changes. A lot of things happened. If you have the chance to buy a Porsche, do it. And don't think about it's an old car. It's a Boxster, maybe 20 years old.
Yeah.
No matter. You drive a Porsche, it's your Porsche. So I think your Porsche is always the best Porsche. And you can drive a Boxster and smile every mile. You don't need a Carrera GT to smile.
I mean, I'd like to get rid of my Boxster and take the Carrera GT, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but I think it's no matter what a kind of Porsche.
Yeah.
It have to be your Porsche. So it's your personal car.
Yeah, I agree.
With a soul.
I agree. Wow. You heard it here. buy your Porsche. Just do it.
Yes.
We really appreciate you guys coming on the show. Thank you so much. Thank you for visiting
Thank you for
our storage facility. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for proving that you can drive the GT cars and do all these things and have fun with them. And they're meant to be outside. It's okay if they get driven and a little scratch here and there. It's good.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
Porsche need to drive, and you need sometimes new tires. It's good for the Porsche.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
And in our next episode, we're going to be featuring one of our long-term docents, and he actually used to work here with us at one point too.
So we fired him.
He didn't get fired.
He's also the concours specialist.
He's concours specialist. He's a great guy, and he'll be our next guest. And be tuned in for that, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Perfect.
Bye, Mom.